Hello everyone and welcome to the first gathering of The Council, a new show here for our YouTube channel and UK Star Wars scene. This is a show in which we are going to get prominent players from the UK scene and hopefully across the world on to have a chat about everything we love about the Star Wars LCG. You may have seen a few of our faces on other podcasts or heard of us. Dave, I know, has been on a podcast in A Game of Chance. And Johnny and Anton have both been on No Disintegrations podcasts before. But both those podcasts have kind of delved into many of the Fantasy Flight games, and we are specifically interested in the LCG. And so here we are. Joining us today on this cast, we have Anton Price. Hello, Anton.
Hello.
And we have John Paul Golightly, a new face for the podcast. Hi, John Paul.
Hello.
David Pyra, even though his name says Laura on the screen.
I
am. And Johnny Olifley. How are you doing, Johnny?
Not bad, not bad.
We don't have video of Johnny, unfortunately, but we've chosen a picture of a much more handsome chap to take his place down in the bottom there. So, first things first, we decided to name this The Council. And John Paul, I know you picked up on, is it the Council of the Sith?
Yeah.
Or is it the Jedi Council? Because I know you have a bit of a thing for Vader. So Vader. I thought it was worth. I found a bit of a. It is the Jedi Council, as you can see from the background we've got going on the left there. But I found a pretty cool quote from when the council first kind of came together, and it seems they do this every time they meet. And I think we'll try and make it's very apt for what we're trying to do, and just have open discussion around everything we love about the LCG. So I thought we might try and make this a bit of a slogan. It's a bit long for a slogan, bit of a motto maybe. With all of us, may the Force be, and may this piece of this temple be ours, a place open to thought and speech, a realm of mutual respect, and a haven of shared noble purpose. Let us take these seats together with no one above the others, and may we work together, free from the restraints of ego and jealousy at this gathering and all others to come. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I've got the Jedi code and I've got the Sith code, and they're very cool documents, but I think that's quite apt for what we're trying to do on this podcast. And seeing as it is episode 1, I've asked all the guys to go through a few points just to say who they are on Twitter so you can get to know them on the forums, etc. So I don't know if Anton, do you want to kick off?
I'll lead off. You should all know me. I'm Darth BS, and part of what we said about getting together is we were going to pick our favourite set. Doing that right, Andy?
Yeah, it was favourite faction and objective set, and why. Right.
So my favourite faction is Navy. I love my Navy, and I like aggression, so I picked a Dark Time for Rebellion because it's just bang, bang, bang. Me, myself, I'm the experimentalist. I'm the meta breaker designer, so I will try and make decks that will break what is in the scene right now. And the Jedi Master I base myself upon is Mace Windu, because he seeks out your biggest weakness and exploits it.
I'm worried. I'm worried that you're going to seek my weakness. Johnny, I don't know if do you want to go next, Johnny?
Yeah, I'll go next. So my favourite faction is Rebels, and favourite objective set is Attack Pattern Delta. Started off playing the LCG right towards the end of the Hoth cycle. So right with all the speeders and everything else, Attack Pattern Delta was such a key objective set in that meta. And now, obviously, with the Rogue Squadron cycle as well, the Rogue Squadron Assault, lots of 2-cost fighters in that as well, triggering off APD. So that was definitely my favourite set. I am the jack of all trades, master of none. I play so many FFG games, Star Wars LCG, X-Wing, Conquest LCG, but I'm not quite amazing at any of them. I just love playing all types of games. The Jedi Master I picked was Corran Horn. He was getting a bit of jack of all trades. Started off in Corellian Security as basically a policeman. Joined Rogue Squadron as a pilot. Later on became a Jedi Knight. Then became a Jedi Master. And the kind of Master of None thing was that he didn't quite have the full range of Jedi abilities that most Masters had. Like he couldn't do any telekinesis or anything like that. So I thought that was kind of my thing.
That's cool. I didn't realise you didn't play from the beginning of release. I didn't realise it was the end of Hoth.
No, yeah, it's the end of Hoth. I picked up a core set and the first 5 packs of Hoth all in on an eBay job lot.
Wow.
I was
jumps
the
in
same
there.
actually. I started the same time as Johnny. Same way.
Okay, and that fits quite well with Corran Horn as well, being late to the party as a Jedi.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, he was quite old. Yeah.
Well, that's good stuff. I'll go next. Why the hell not? Go in the middle. So I'm Andy. I'm fully ops on the forums and on Twitter. And for my favourite faction, I actually went Smugglers. Favourite objective set it's got to be Asteroid Sanctuary. It's got the Falcon in it. And I think I love the Smugglers because they give. I think they're the faction with the most answers. So you can, to any specific situation, they don't have the brute force of the rebels or like the control of the Sith and the Jedi. They just have lots of little tricks and answers to a given situation, and that's what I like about the LCG. What is my role on the council? I'm more of the scholar, the researcher, the archivist kind of role. So I will obviously maintain the YouTube channel and keep all those videos going, but I have to do a hell of a lot of testing with a couple of the guys on here and outside of that, and I generally don't make changes to the deck on a whim. I need to have data behind it. So unfortunately that means I, as a Jedi Master, if I had to pigeonhole me, I'm going to be that annoying woman from Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith, I think it was. Jocasta Nu, the record keeper, the really obnoxious woman who slaps Obi-Wan down and says, if it's not in our records, it does not exist. That's me. If it's not in my Excel spreadsheet, I don't care. So yeah, that's me. Smugglers, yellow cards. Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm Bungo Underhill on Twitter and lots of various different forums. My favourite faction are Jedi, even though they're broken at the moment. I like some of the cool stuff they do. Yoda's my favourite character. And my favourite set is Sacrifice at Endor. The Ewok, basically anything under about 3.5 foot in the Star Wars universe is my shebang. So the little Ewoks in there with their draw a card and cheap tactics are just amazing. For my role in the council, I've gone with sort of growing the game community and teaching people. I quite like onboarding new players, as it will, and I'm starting TOing our local tournaments. I think the other players are pretty glad because I've won the last few, so they want a chance of winning some prizes as well. So I'm stepping back into the judges' chair and hoping to grow the community there, and also hopefully through the council and various podcasts as well. And I've also put down, I'm a critic. I'm good at pulling out, looking at things and asking questions and saying that's probably not right, which has led me to say I'm Qui-Gon Jinn, because he doesn't really get on with the council. He's always questioning their decisions, but also he's a pretty good mentor and teacher. So, and I've got the hair and beard for it. So
that's
true.
Good. That is true. That is good beard action. not mandatory for the council. Everyone was saying I've not shaven, but everyone else. Johnny, you're rocking a good beard these days, aren't you?
Accidentally, yeah.
Oh right, okay, fair enough. Well, good to have you, Dave. Good to have you.
Thank you.
First for this podcast, and also new for this podcast, we've got John Paul.
Yep. Well, my favourite Sith. I fell in love with the Sith straight away. It must have been about similar time to Anton and Johnny. I think I was mid-Hoth cycle when I first started getting into the game. It's a long-time player, isolated in the northeast, and didn't know what it would be like further afield. I only just recently started going further afield. I've always said to Sith, if it was a one-deck game like some of the others, I would love to have just a Sith deck.
Yeah.
Even while the Jedi doing so well, I'd still like to try and beat the Jedi with a Sith deck. Favourite pod? Fall of the Jedi. Darth Vader's one of the reasons I got into the game. Seeing his pod when somebody showed me how to play, I liked it. I thought it epitomised Darth Vader's character. It's hard. The heat of battle, the extra chud there with the extra gun. Sorry, I just got a message on my phone there. I shall switch it off. I like him. He's got his lightsaber, target strike. Who doesn't like target strike?
Yeah.
My role in the council, I don't know. I've only just recently gone from being the hooded lurker on all forums and websites and very rarely posting, and then it dawned on me that if I wanted the game to grow in my area and elsewhere, I'm going to have to do that myself, not expect other people to do it. So, I mean, this was the first year I travelled to a variety of regionals up and down the country with co-driver Andy on many of those excursions.
Some long drives.
It was good. It was a good fun 4 weekends in a row. I'm glad we didn't have to fit it all into 2.5 weeks in May.
Yeah. God.
Yeah, so this is the first time I've joined these guys. Looking forward to the future and as it goes. And the game itself is just going in so many different directions. It's a good time for the game, and it's a good time to be involved.
It is. It really is. I think the game, when it first came out, I think everyone would agree that it was one of those games, probably all card games have this, where there's just not enough cards for the competitive scene. So you saw the same, and you saw it up until earlier this year, I think, to a degree, where just the same decks, card for card, came up every single tournament. It was always Sith Control in year one, and then it was Sleuths on the light side, and then it was Sith Scum for the dark side, and it just swung. And then only now does it really feel to me as if we're getting to a position where there legitimately are enough cards to warrant a podcast like this for us to get on kind of fairly regularly and have a chat about what's coming out, what's new, what rules have been queried recently, all that kind of stuff. Up until now, it's not felt like that's been there.
Yeah, I think that I love the pod system. It's very appealing about the game. A lot of people have pros and cons about it. I personally love it. But the pod system itself, it meant the game had to be alive for so long before there was enough pods for all 6 factions. And we had a lot of neutral pods at the beginning of the game as well. So if you're looking at an entire cycle, each faction would get like 5 pods.
Yeah.
And they're not going to release 1,000 cards in 1 week because no one's going to buy 1,000 cards in 1 week. But it took a while. It's taken a while. 2 cycles, a lot of factions. I think, am I correct? Does everybody have 20 pods now, roughly?
It's there or thereabouts, isn't it? It's still, compared to other games, it's not a lot of decisions that you're making, is it, when you're building a deck? But I mean, this is all kind of leading on quite nicely to the first kind of section that we had planned out to talk about. In that there was on the forums, well, specifically, I think it was Anton, the new Facebook group that you're a part of and leading and championing, that there was a question asked. I don't know whether it was by you, Dave, but you certainly took charge on it. What decks would people build if the restriction of maximum ×2 was removed? And I guess I'll open the forum because I know what answers we got to on the Facebook group, and it's good to know that Facebook group has kind of grown just beyond the UK scene that was maybe 50 or so really active players, and it's now kind of the worldwide. The Americans are getting involved quite heavily. Yeah. But I don't know, Dave, if you want to kick off and have a chat with.
Yeah, I guess maybe I think originally the question was it wasn't more than 2; it was all 10, which is slightly different from more than 2.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So just if you could pick one pod and make 10 of that.
If you had one
deck.
pod and that was your whole deck, what was going in?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that there was quite a few questions going around. I think the favourite pod that everyone was picking was Executor, just because with all those, I've forgotten the name of the card now, the one that makes both players sacrifice a card, and then the fact obviously the Executor is dealing damage twice each time it does that just gives you so much power.
Yeah.
And 10 Sith holocrons in a deck is they're limited, but it means getting out of that Executor isn't too hard.
True.
And I guess on the light side, I was looking at before they changed the rulings. If you've got your journey through the swamp with your spiders coming out, on your initial flop, well, that's 3 spiders for free into play that you can all activate on the first turn. And you can keep playing out the Jubba Birds, and whatever your opponent does to them, well, you've got 10 life creates it in the deck, or your objectives dagger burst. So you can they die, they come back, and they just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you've got a lot of pretty poor quality creatures. But if your opponent's decided to play a character pack rather than the Executor, you've got a pretty good control.
Just lock them down with a million Jubba Birds. Just your menagerie of Jubba Birds. I mean, I don't know whether there's a bigger discussion here to be had around why. I mean, do we think this is like the 10 Executor pod? That was clearly most people's answer on the dark side of It's got a great resource. It's got the main, and it's got 2 support characters that you can just sacrifice to just bomb. You don't need to attack really. You just spend your time building up loads of ISBs, sacrifice them all, and just blow your objectives away. Job done. Is that a good deck though? Do you think that would win against your Jedi of today? John, I don't know, John Paul.
Right. I really wanted to play this game as well. I'm going to fire the printer up and play this game one day.
Okay. Right.
Everyone was talking about the Executor, and something slightly bugged me about it, and I just I've got to say Heart of the Empire.
Oh, okay.
Get the defense fleets out straight away. The libraries for future fleets. You basically, if it's a video game, you're getting +5 life every turn.
True.
Obviously, you can die a little bit quicker. And then if anybody comes up with a Yoda pod or a Dash pod, or you just 4 stasis every turn, and they're all unique. Hold the Force or 4 stasis, let them take the Force. I've got 75 life, and I'll slowly get to 12. I thought it may be a little bit safer than Executor's pod, because can you play the Executor on the very first turn with a hologram? Yeah, you can. Actually.
Yeah, because there's 2 resources on the Executor Arrives each. So
mine was Heart of the Empire. I thought it was a little bit safe, and if everyone had a character deck, the 4 stasis.
Yeah, you can definitely lock that down straight away. But again, do you think both of you, the Executor Arrives, and now they're both 2 dark side decks, Executor for David and Heart of the Empire for you, John? Do you really think they could beat a standard quote unquote / broken quote unquote Jedi deck of today?
Yes.
You do.
Yes.
You do. See, the thing, I guess it's less of an issue with the Heart of the Empire deck. But the problem I'm seeing with a lot of these 10, and we'll have to print off these decks and have a show match, I think, or a few, because there's definitely a lot of options out there. Dave, for your deck, is there not? You're only going to have, and yeah, you can get it out every turn potentially, but it's unique. That's the problem with a lot of these things. Is that the main character in that deck is unique, so you can only have 1 Executor. And if that gets, well, let's not beat around the bush. If that gets boned somehow, your deck stalls.
It's pretty hard to bone it though, because like you said, it doesn't need to attack to do any damage. All you need to do is sack your ISBs and get your opponent to sack their units, and it can't be affected by cards until it's been damaged, which, if you're making your opponent sack all their units, is...
Oh, true.
I mean, the light side first, each turn they'll get characters out that they can attack you with, but hopefully you can throw some ISBs in the way, or just let a small amount of damage through, because you don't have to take that many down. If they've gone with Yoda or Luke or something, and you play your aggression, and they sacrifice Luke and you sacrifice an ISB, that's 2 damage for not very many resources, and you can... I don't know. I was thinking about other 10 times pods, so if they're playing characters, they're probably going to be unique or ISB quality level characters as well. So the uniqueness it's something to think about, but I think you've got quite a lot of control there.
Yeah, I forget. To be honest, I forgot that it couldn't be affected by card effects. So all those
Boston damage.
Yeah.
Boston damage, Jay.
And and let's face it, you're never going to send that to attack for the first half of the game, are you, Dave? Really, I would think, unless you can clear the way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I still remember my game against you, Andy, where I kept your Executor locked out the whole game with rat action and Ewoks tactics, and it still killed me by all the sacrifices.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean, that was I don't know if that will ever get up on the channel at this point, but that was a long game, and I dread to think how long that game would be. I mean, it's one of those things. It's a great theory question. I love these kind of questions where there's no right answer around. It's just, this is the deck that you'd build, Dave. I mean, Anton, what were some of your answers to this question?
I was always struggling to think of what light side one, because everyone was thinking of like good dark side ones to pick.
Yeah.
But light side ones was a real struggle. I wanted to go down the against all odds one. If you could sort of like deck your player in like the first turn, just like card,
all the cards. Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it would have worked. So, but yeah. I don't know. it's very open, and there's so many possibilities. I mean, we thought could hidden in the shadows stop the executed deck if you could only play be able to play the one card while that was out. So, but I think someone found a loophole around that. So there's just so many intricate ways of playing this out. So I look forward to seeing it when you guys
have a show match. Well, it might be you. We might call upon your services to. Well, you're the meta breaking design card deck designer, aren't you?
I'll have to look back on that. Yeah.
I'll say one thing though, Luke, with 10, trust your feelings on it.
Yeah.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah. Unopposed. Well, targeted strike, I guess. But
Twilight goes in first to put a focus token on the executor.
I think he might hit a wall of either gunfire or ISBs. Yeah, sacrifice dead. I think I went down the same route as well with you, Anton. Around probably because of drawing all the cards, you can just go, right. These are the 6 I want. But also the dude, what's he called?
Shifty Lookout.
Shifty, yeah. That just says.
Oh yeah.
Because if you get, I know you probably could only get 3 or 4, or maybe 5 out in one turn, but then that's you increasing your opponent's hand size by 5 effectively, so they're only drawing 1 card. That could put the brakes on. So I think that's the issue. If you see Executor turn 1, Dave, then I think it is game. But if you don't, that's an definitely all your eggs in one basket. I've not seen this. I've got ISBs.
If my top deck threat is a holocron, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I've got 5 holocrons and an ISB and a rage. An aggression. So yeah, it's definitely one of those. Johnny, we've not heard much from you on this topic. I don't know if you had.
I'd go APD.
Shocking.
I know, it's shocking. But snow speeder spam, like 3 APDs out, good chance of getting 3 speeders out in your opening turn, plus whatever you have in your hand.
Yeah.
Snow speeder launch bay to damage any vehicle, so Devastator, Executor. As soon as the snow speeder strikes, damages the Executor, turn off its thing. Battle of Hoth to heal your objectives. So make them harder, and then Rogue Leader and Rogue 2 just to smash in damage and tactics. So yeah,
not a bad call. Not a bad call. I think it's one of these that we might open up to comments down below. If you guys do want to see this show match, I think we are going to have these show matches. But from all those decks that you heard, so let's take. Okay, sounds like we've got 2 light side decks there, and 2 dark side decks. So that feels to me like pick a matchup, guys. Write in the comments below which dark side deck do you want to see. Dave's 10 times Executor Arrives, or John Paul's 10 times Heart of the Empire. And on the light side, do you want to see Johnny's 10 times Attack Pattern Delta, or Anton's, let's face it, 12 times, because he never builds 10 pod decks. Never builds 10 pods. Do you want to see Anton's dash deck?
Maybe we should stream this over Octagon.
I think we would do, or we might be able to get like a live version going on Skype, seeing as we can get webcams pointed at. We'll see, but we'll make it happen. You tell us which decks you want to see, and we will. I'm sure the guys will jump at the chance, and we'll probably do the other matchup the following week or something. But yeah, it's a great discussion. So those kind of that's the good thing I like about Anton. I don't know if this is a good time for you to mention the Facebook group, but it's starting to become. It used to be just a lot of discussion around what's the best kind of cards for the tournament, like this subjective set that's been spoiled. Spoiler alert, we're going to do one of that soon. Is that going to make it in my deck, yes or no? And the answer was probably no, and the discussion was over. And it feels like now both the community and the card pool and the game have got mature enough where these kind of questions are actually quite fun. And you know that week, Dave, where you put that question up on the forum, that exploded. It's got like 100 comments on it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like overnight.
Something ridiculous, yeah.
You only got up in the morning, then all the Americans and the awesome guy from New Zealand, they posted throughout the night, continuing the conversation. It's just like, at 6 a.m., what do you mean I've got 50 notifications? What's going on?
Yeah.
My turn.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, but it was a good, and it's one of those that no one's thought about that before because it's against the rules, but there's nothing stopping us playing it and having some fun. Because I think I'm definitely guilty of this. I basically only play competitively these days. I've not got, and I don't know if it's the same for you guys. I don't have a big scene near me. I drive to Huddersfield, which takes best part of an hour, and once a week, if that. So, and we play test and we check out new decks and stuff, but I never play 10 times a pod, so this will be a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I think one of the issues was that, especially over this year with the Jedi tournaments, everyone was looking for answers just to how to beat decks. So that's all discussion was, how do I beat this? No one was. It was only a few people who would like go in and dedicate some like experimental testing or just go off on a tangent to discover something. I mean, I've seen some posts about variant ways of playing the game, solo games, stuff like that. So there's lots of things that we, the community, can do to improve it, and that's what we've seen on the new Facebook group. Lots of discussion, and it's good to share comments with our American cousins and that. And it's been really, really good these last couple of weeks. Yeah,
I mean, I'll put a link up to the group over. I think it'll be over there. Trying to get my bearings on this new format. Yeah, over there. So go check it out. It's mainly the UK scene, but like I say, it's open to anyone to come and have discussions. If you can, all the events go up on there as well. And I think, Dave, you asking the question, I think really does fit in with how you introduced yourself as, the guy who brings people into the community just to have a good time, and you ask these crazy off the wall questions just to get people thinking, and that was a really good example. But I also know that you do those kind of things in your events as well, don't you? Down in the Midlands, you've had a few themed events where it's just like the Hoth.
Yeah, cycle. The last event we did. I mean, most of us, I think, listen to you guys. I'm the newest starter out of all of us, so I joined about halfway through the Echoes cycle.
Right.
But our last, not the event previous, but the one before that, we did basically the Hoth cycle plus the core set and the Smuggler's Scum box.
Oh, the first box, yeah.
So it's basically, I think it was the same meta as the first Worlds was, but it just to mix up a bit, so people couldn't use May the Force be with you. People couldn't use the current Jedi decks, and just to test things up a bit, shake things around. And I think we've got quite a good scene going in Loughborough because we've got a regular sort of Thursday night games night, and we've got players who have started, within the last month or so, through to, a few of us that have been doing it for about close to a year now, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's just mixing the decks around. So obviously we're trying the power decks, but we've also, I've got my Ewok deck, which is 7 Ewok pods, Endor Luke because it said Endor on it.
Good man.
And then I think I put Obi-Wan in because the Wolfmen are kind of furry, right? So it counts. But it turns out that's not the best casual deck because there's so many tactics in it and not very much damage that if you do start winning, it takes you an awful long time to do so. So I think there's some interesting things you can learn though, because even when you're playing casual, my friend Ty says, I love Wookiees, I'm going to play a Wookiee deck. He puts the deck together and then you go, oh, hang on, these Wookiee, what are they called? The guards that come into play when you remove a unique character, or they combo really well with heroes and legends and things like that. And it's good to see both sides, so you can play these more casual, theme-heavy games, which are better for bringing in the new characters. They don't want to see Executor making everyone sacrifice their units all the time, and massive tactics Yodas flying around all over the place. It gives you a bit more flexibility to play, but then you can bring out the hard-hitting decks for the events.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, Chewie's a pain in the ass. He's always good. So
I don't think anyone needed to learn that though.
No, but that's my forum name, my YouTube channel, and that I hate Chewie. Those are the 3 things you need to know about me. I hate that.
But you're yellow, Andy.
I know, but
it's a smuggler card.
I know, but he's never in my hand when I need him. And he's always on the opponent's board when I don't want it.
Let the Wookiee win.
No. Never. So that is, the first section. I think we'll move on to more of a forum discussion around what's been going on recently.
All right, so I'm gathering my thoughts now. We're going to talk about the pilot ruling fiasco that went down on the forums earlier or late last week, I guess. Was it over the weekend?
Yeah, the past week or so, wasn't it?
Yeah. So a rules question was asked about stay on target, the pilot force fate card, sorry, which says you may put a pilot card from your hand or discard pile into play as a pilot attachment on a unit you control. And the ruling came back initially and said, oh, by the way, this also means that you can put it into play as a unit through various reasons that we won't go into for now, but technically did work within the rules with previous consistent decisions that were made about the infiltration card. And a number of people said, well, that doesn't make sense. It's crazy. What's going on here? Me amongst them put there, and I wrote a heartfelt letter to FFG on the forum as well, saying that this is crazy. What are you doing? Because I thought that the card to me seems so clearly written in its intent and what it was meant to do, that if a new player sat down with that card, you know, and I'm trying to grow the community here. If I tried to make a ruling and said, oh yeah, this card that says this, actually you can do this other stuff with it, and I made a ruling in favour of a more experienced player in a tournament, for example, that said they could do that, it was like, it's just going to drive players away. People will get frustrated. People will rage quit the game, if you will. Yeah. But then FFG came back, and I think, I'm not sure if it was exactly 24 hours, but it wasn't much more than that. Came back with a reversal of the decision, basically, and said, actually, no, this is incorrect. The card, they refer back to the golden rule, saying if the card says contradicts the rule book, actually the golden rule applies, and if the card says this, that's what it does. And they also reversed the ruling on infiltration as well to do the same. So an infiltration, I think, says puts the unit into play as a participating unit on your side. Yeah. And previously that had been ruled that with pilots you can make them pilots, but they've switched that as well because it says as, I think it's the word that they're keying it off.
As a participating unit.
That has to be a unit, and stay on target has to be a pilot.
Right, gotcha. So, I mean, they got there, and I think we all agree that it got to the situation and the outcome we all expected and wanted. So, as you've mentioned, Dave, the intent on that card, stay on target, was pretty clear.
Yeah.
That everyone just assumed it should be as an enhancement on a vehicle. Done. Mm-hmm. So it's good that they arrived at the agreed consensus, I guess, and that it was an enhancement. The problem for me is that, are we now getting a bit too complicated? I get it's not a problem, I guess. The question I'd like to pose to the group is, because, you know, Dave, you've summed up what happened.
Yep.
That cannot be changed. You know, the ruling was made. A lot of people kicked off, pointed out that it's not going to make things easy, and then the golden rule won out in the end. So how I want to take this forward is, should we have got in that position in the first place? Was that card worded sufficiently enough? Are the rules and the timing structures too complicated, and maybe we need to go back to a bit of basics? I mean, that's maybe the question I'd start asking. And I don't know, Anton, if you have any thoughts on that?
I had a few comments towards that. At the moment, I know that we've got the rule book that we use as a resource. We've got the FAQ we use as a resource. I think one of the grey areas, and this is where this come from, is that on the card game DB forums, yes, it's run by FAQ. That's the main place the designers and that use to communicate with us with their rulings. And we've got that one rules thread that is constantly updated, and that contains all the little quirky questions that you aren't necessarily fit for an FAQ, but are worth knowing about. And has it now gotten to a point where that resource has become too important that everyone needs to be aware of it? Because a lot of people don't know about it. And that's what I think. You try and introduce new players and you tell them, well, you've got to read these 3 documents before you can really be clued up on the game. And it's just not a good position to be in.
If I remember correctly, so much happened in such a short space of time.
Yeah, it did escalate quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, and I think on the card game DB website, not the Facebook group, did this not all just stem originally from the old pilots? Wedge, Luke, the way they'd done the leaflet to bring them in line. So I think the discussion was, should they not have just been errated in the first place instead of the way they described the rules in the little pamphlet that comes in the box packet? I don't know. I mean,
I know that was brought up in discussion. A lot of people were, before the decision was made to reverse it, a lot of people were coming up with suggestions of how they could fix this, and that was one of the points a lot of people brought up, is shouldn't we just errata those cards so that the pilot rules can be ironed out straight, and then we wouldn't have too much confusion with anything.
I think for me, my take on it is that the rules system for this game is a bit confused, because like the core rulebook in the core set, it's a how to learn to play the game document basically, and then we've got the FAQ, which FAQ means frequently asked questions. It doesn't mean this is a rules document, but then there's a section in there that says here's additional rules.
Yeah.
And I know some of the other games that have come out later, they've got a, like if you look at Conquest, they've got a learn to play book and then a rules reference guide, as it were.
Yeah.
And if you look at Magic or something, they've got their comprehensive rules document, which is very detailed, but you wouldn't learn to play from. And then you have your starter rule sets. Yeah. And it kind of feels that we need the book in the core set is a pretty good document for learning how to play the game, but then we need another document that says, and these are actually all the rules that you need to play the game.
Yeah.
Because we hear things like people start talking about framework actions, and then you hear, what's a framework action? And you look in the rule book and you go, oh, I don't really know what a framework action is. And they seem to have this rules construct that is not public facing, and I think we need one.
Yeah.
I think. Go on, Andy.
No, go ahead, JP.
Well, I was just going to mention that obviously FFG, as they've grown immensely as a company, they've adopted that most recent design with the way they put the two different rules pamphlets in the boxes. What's happened with the likes of Netrunner and Star Wars, obviously that'll never be reversed unless there's a reboot. I can't really see them reprinting a core set with new rulebooks in it. I really don't think they would. But that's the way the company was at the time. And these new pilot mechanics, including the rules leaflets, and we've obviously got missions coming up, however they play out properly. And if they didn't do these things, and this is an attempt to expand and grow the game, otherwise in another 2 or 3 years' time we'll have 17 Darth Vaders and 19 Yodas, because there's only 3 movies and there's not much you can do.
Yeah. Oh, Heroes and Legends will be a pain in the ass when that's true.
Yep.
I'll run 2 Heroes and Legends and 8 Lukes.
Yep.
Just following on from what JP was saying about the newer games having the RRG and Netrunner and Star Wars don't. Obviously the FAQ is never a printed document. That's an online only document. Same with the tournament rules.
Yeah.
So there's nothing stopping them to actually produce an RRG that irons out some of these things that is available online as an online only document. Because you still got to go online to get the FAQ. They could have that on that site. As experienced players, new players coming in, we could kind of go, yeah, you got the learn to play in the box. Also jump online and download that RRG. Because I mean the Conquest one's brilliant, and I've seen the one for Game of Thrones 2nd edition. And literally, you come across a keyword like pilot, you flick through to P, find pilot, and the rules there, and it gives you the associated rules to look up as well.
Yeah.
Everything's alphabetical, everything's explained, and they're really, really great documents. So maybe we could get one of those, an online only version for Star Wars, and I think that would help.
I think that's exactly what I'd like to see, because even the FAQ document at the moment, you go through the rules and it's 2.11, 2.12, 2.13, just as and when they've added it to the rule book. So you've got a reference there, but it's not, you can't go to P for pilot. It's just, it's kind of a mishmash of, oh, we've added this rule, oh, we've added this rule.
Yeah, anything.
And if they updated
anything new is highlighted in like purple, but then it's in no particular order, is it? I don't think.
Yeah, and I think having an FAQ document is useful for the questions bit, which is part of the FAQ. And I think probably the errata wants to stay there as well. But having a rules reference guide that just says, actually, this is what pilot means. This is what a framework action is, and the more sort of advanced concepts about what you can do when, and the timing rules and stuff that are in the additional rules in the FAQ, actually that should all be in one place that people can read and is updated, so you don't need a pilot booklet and a rule book and an FAQ and a tournament rules to
carry around with you. And then the annoying part where if you go to a tournament and you do have all those things but on a phone in PDF form, and then the TO says, I'm not going to accept that because it's not a printed version. And that's 12 trees I've just killed. So I think I agree with you there, David. Actually, it's a really good point that and Johnny, all of you guys, that move, they made that move in the newer LCGs, I think, for a reason. You wouldn't spend, as a company, you wouldn't spend resources making a rules reference guide if it wasn't critical. It's money you're spending that could be profit. And at the end of the day, you need to make that game a better experience for your players to justify spending that money. And clearly it's worked. Conquest has been, and Thrones 2.0, I imagine, is going to go down a similar route. They're going to be huge launches and really successful LCGs. Conquest already is. I think it is the most successful LCG outside of Thrones that's been running for 10 years already.
It's definitely the biggest selling, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're definitely the fastest moving launch for an LCG, I think they mentioned, over the past few months.
Well, I've got a suggestion, actually, which has just popped in my mind. It was all based from Andy's waving of the phone.
Ooh,
You know, when you buy the deluxe expansions and what have you, and they've got that little pamphlet in that's about that size, and it shows you all the things.
Yeah.
What if they included a rules reference guide and updated each deluxe expansion?
Yeah, that's definitely a way. I mean,
they're going to add that 20 cents a box cost to advertise the games that are, because I mean, they're always include the games that's been available for the last 12 months.
Yeah.
And I'd pay an extra £1 for a deluxe box if it included an updated rules reference guide.
That's true.
And deluxe is never going to get cycled out, so it's never going to be an issue that.
Well, there's a cycle issue, and depending on the release schedule, every 9 months potentially, they update the rules in that little pamphlet. Every time you buy a new deluxe box, you're up to speed.
Yeah.
With these rules changes.
I mean, hopefully it's one of those. It could well be one of those documents that somewhere online someone's already put it together anyway. Because I know over my time playing as a competitive player, I've seen a bunch of cheat sheets and little reference cards out to the side that players have had that said, when can I do specifically? What can I do? When are my action windows? What are the framework events that I cannot miss? And if I do, whoops, I have to go back and fix them. I've seen those kicking around, so maybe this is the kind of document that's out there. And I agree, JP, if you're going to print it, deluxes are the place to package it, because as you say, Anton, they're never going to go out of cycle. And it's just going to be a little pamphlet. My only worry there is it's something you've got to update and reprint every time. So if someone, like if you go back and buy Edge of Darkness now, and it has a rules pamphlet in from 2 years ago, are you gonna? So when this next Imperial Entanglements comes out as a deluxe, are you going to go back and change the printings on all the next runs of,
Presumably they change the printing of the you get, like John was saying, the little games leaflet that says, "Oh, buy Arkham Horror because you bought this game as well," and all of that stuff. They change that when they reprint, don't they? So presumably they can change.
It would be like an insert at the factory. So every time a reprint happens, the latest insert will go in.
Yeah, I'm just worried about people. I mean, this is just. I don't know if FFG will ever do this. I'm just thinking, could you have that situation where you've got 2 boxes of Edge of Darkness on the shelf, one from a year ago and one that's just come in stock today, and both players buy it and they get different rules reference sheets. They go home and they're like, start. To me, it does feel if they do that and they find a way of doing it properly, then that would be great.
I got a suggestion on that one.
But for me, it just feels like a live document. Sorry, Anton, a live document online that, because let's be honest, it only really will refresh once a cycle. As long as no real serious rules questions come up on older cards, it'll only come up when a new mechanic is introduced, like missions, for example. We know missions are coming in the next deluxe. That'll probably throw up a bunch of questions. But that'll be it. No one will go back and ask questions about, all right, actually, does targeted strike still work the same way? Or, yeah, of course it does. And pilots are still the same now that we've had that discussion. The only new thing is X. Let's add that to the PDF. Done. Sorry, Anton.
Yeah, if you've looked at your force packs, you notice on the back they give you a little scannable barcode. Just put them on all the boxes, and that will link straight to this
PDF,
document. If
yeah.
you want the latest, every barcode will then just direct you, no matter how old the packaging was or not. If they just started that and carried that on, then you
just have it linked
access.
to. Because I don't know I don't know of anyone who's scanned that document to see what cards are in the pack.
Done
I've
it a
never
few
done it
times.
either.
Have you?
But
Oh, right. Okay, I know two people. I know two people who've done it.
every time I've done it, I've always got to the "this product is not released yet" page. So,
The classic. Right.
I think you have to wait a couple of months until after it's released before you can actually see anything. So.
Yeah, or the page comes up in Spanish because they're the only ones who have actually got it. Clearly.
So I've got a question, guys.
Oh.
Did we as a community jump the gun on this? Did we use social media too quickly to exacerbate this and create the furore that happened? I mean, if this type of thing happened 10 years ago without the internet, none of us would have. It would have just been something between the person who asked the question and the designer.
Yeah.
I mean, as social media not helped this. I know we all like to share our information. We want to keep up to date with things, but I know us in the community, we're always on the edge and the button, waiting for new card spoilers, new information, decks, builds, all sorts of stuff. Is that become the problem that's made this a lot worse?
Johnny, I don't know if you want to weigh in. You've been.
Yeah, I mean, the internet does obviously spread fires pretty quickly, but in the same way, FFG. We know FFG listens to read the forums. We know that they follow people on Twitter and they respond. So I think it's a little bit of both. But if anything, it shows FFG that we actually really care about the game, and that can never be a bad thing. And the fact that they do actually also listen, and they've massively improved their communication over the last few months. So I would say generally, no, social media has massively helped. With a little bit of a downside maybe, but it's just passion for the game.
I mean, I don't think anyone on the social media. There's a lot of people saying this ruling is crazy. Why have they made this decision? But I don't think anyone was, calling out FFG as. I don't think anyone was, throwing poo around, as it were. It was just people acting. I personally felt like, someone had just slapped me in the face or something with this ruling. It was just I can't believe this is what they've said. And I think a lot of people were just expressing that opinion of, this doesn't sound right. This isn't what the card says. This isn't what it does. Just pull your stuff together, FFG, and sort it out. And FFG did. And I think if so many people hadn't have called it out that quickly, then probably that 24-hour turnaround that they pulled off probably wouldn't have happened. So I think having that social media presence and having those people expressing the opinions and offer it, I think the golden rule was one of the solutions that was called out on the forums, amongst others, of people saying, I'd fix it this way, I'd fix it this way, throwing out ideas. There was some off the wall stuff that probably would have been worse, but that kind of community spirit pulling together and saying, actually, we can't have this rule in the game, let's fix it, let's get it done. And then FFG did in quite a sensible way. I think social media has helped that, and the speed of the rulings generally we get from FFG is very good on the forums as well. Is it DM boy, whatever his name is,
DMBE boy,
DMBE boy,
I think, yeah.
I'm not.
Matt.
Gandalf, yeah.
Gandalf, yeah. Gandalf the White. That's how I know him. The forums are well moderated, they're well maintained, and it's relatively easy to find the answers you want on there. So I think the speed that we've got and the community and other people answering questions, it is all good for the game.
I think if the community didn't react the way it was, obviously the way everyone's online now, everyone reacted the way they did. It got fixed very quickly, and for those watching this in 2017, this is a week before Gen Con. Very big for Americans, and that got fixed straight away. On the other hand, if this was 15 years ago, nobody would have been aware how potentially broken you could make it. because there wasn't access to all these. So there wouldn't have been an issue 15 years ago, but...
Yeah, you would have had someone just turn up to Gen Con and go, and I play Vader as a unit.
How do you know that? Because I live next door to the developer.
True. But for me, I think the social media, obviously it brought the problem to everyone's attention. It was highlighted that, the question was asked, an answer was given. I personally, I think the social media and the forums really, obviously, clearly helped the speed of resolution. But if I'm honest, I don't actually have a problem with any of what went down and how and in what order. So to me, this is what happened. A question was asked. It was a legitimate question. Can you put this guy in as a unit? FFG gave an answer that pretty damn quickly that said, per the rules, actually, yes, you can do that. And then they didn't say, let's have a discussion, but then everyone had a discussion. But it was question asked, answer referring to the rules. Community kind of got together and said, I don't think that should happen. And as you said, Dave, the community came up with 10, 20 different possible solutions to get to the answer we all knew was the end goal of the original intent of that card, stay on target. Some of them were more elegant than others, like the golden rule applies, end of story, which to anyone who is new to the system, golden rule basically says you've got the core rules here and an individual card here. If they ever conflict, go with the card, not the core rules. And then you had a bunch of other stuff that was half a page of text that said if we print this errata, this would fix the issue. But ultimately, question asked, rules referred to, not what we wanted. Here's a solution. FFG went away and resolved it within 24 hours. You can't... Yeah, we all got in arms and, started pitchforks and got the lighter fluid out, but within a weekend, the answer was arrived at with official sanction from FFG. You can't get much better than that from a games design company. Yes, we could have avoided it completely, but you're never going to avoid all the questions of these cards. It's such a complex game because it's not Snap.
Unless you've got Heroes and Legends.
Unless you've got Heroes and Legends. Boom, a win.
Well, then I guess to end on a high note on this is thank you, community, for helping fix the game.
Yeah,
fix this problem.
Thank you all, everyone involved. I think that from the community and the people who just post here and there and lurk and go, I don't think that's right. To people like Dave who put their posts up and say, I truly passionately believe this is a bad call and here's why, and structure it. To everyone Lee Turks who put Josh Johnson who put it up his suggestions of how to fix it, and then to FFG to actually resolve it and come to the solution we all knew and had in our hearts. That was going to be the solution. It's going to be as an enhancement only. Just how do we get there? So I think the ultimate story is the system works. Maybe it shouldn't have broken in the first place, but the system to fix it works, and I'm quite proud of that. So are we done on that one, gents?
Yeah. I can put my tissues away now. I'm emotional.
Well, I think
blame whoever asked the question in the first place.
Yeah, who was that? It wasn't.
There's always got to go and try and find something. We're gonna break this game, yeah.
And speaking of breaking this game, that generally only happens when there's new cards. Ooh,
well, that's a habit of ours, isn't it?
Segue.
Smooth.
That's what I do. So JP, I don't know if you want to kick us off. I'll put the card images up over here for everyone who wants to spoil it. But yeah. JP, we have some spoilers from the new deluxe Imperial Entanglements.
We do
we not?
Yes. And it is a smuggler's pod. This pod is called Fortune and Fate. It is 5 health, 2 resources. No special text, but it's got 2 resources. There we go. So we're going to talk about one card at a time? Everyone's happy with the 5-2? There's not really...
I think so. I mean, the 5-2... I like Smuggler 5-2s because it makes playing the Falcon early doable.
It's not Smugglers only, so you can splash it.
Yeah, but it's
nice to splash a 5-2.
Has it got any traits on it, JP?
Cloud City.
It's got the brilliant Cloud City written on it. Darth Vader was there.
Darth Vader was there. Oh man.
And Blaster.
Yeah, I don't think there's really 5-2. Anyone? Any more comment? I mean, the Cloud City.
I love the Bespin sunset.
The artwork is
lovely.
Stunning. I mean, I think we spoiled that on Twitter a few days ago. But
is that 3 Cloud City sets we've got now?
I was just thinking, how many Cloud City? What do we have for Cloud City?
We've got Defense of this, and then what's the third one?
Which one's Lando's pod? Is that
Me.
Defense? Trust Me, that's it.
Oh, is that?
And Raise the Stakes, we've got 4. Raise the Stakes, Defense.
Wow.
Trust Me. This.
Fair dues. So it could be a thing. It could be a
Smuggler's New Locks box coming up, right?
Yeah. Could be a thing.
Protect Cloud City. You want to
Protect. Abandon ship.
Protect Coruscant.
As long as I take my ice cream maker with me, I don't mind.
Okay. I don't think there's much else to say on a blank 5-2.
Yeah.
But the next thing probably has quite a lot to say.
Yes, card 2 of 6. It's a unique card, 4 cost, 3 pips. It is Lady Luck. This is a vehicle, a transport. It has a black unit damage, black blast damage, an edge-enabled unit damage, and edge-enabled blast damage. Has 3 health, and it's got a reaction. After this unit, if focused to strike, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Discard one of those cards, place one on the bottom of your deck, and place one into your hand.
Johnny, I'll let you go first on this one, I think. Seeing as you're the vehicles dude.
Yeah, I really don't know what to make. The actual unit, 3 health, pretty solid. 4 cost, Brassware unique. It's kind of in line. 3 force pips, nice for committing, but no elite. Nice spread of icons. It's the reaction that's kind of got me. I don't know what's much to make of it, really. I mean, obviously you only get rid of 1 card to discard. The other ones go to the bottom of your deck and one to your hand. Seeing more of your deck's good. Getting rid of cards you don't want to have in your hand to the bottom of the pile or discard pile's good. What happens if you pull 3 cards you really want?
Yeah.
You pick the one that you want the most, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, one's going to the bottom, probably not going to see it. If you can get the other one out of the discard pile, maybe. But yeah, not sure.
Okay, David.
I think discard is what I was thinking. I mean, with only one of this effect, it might not be too powerful. But I was thinking, with the Wolfman from Obi-Wan's pod, or even if it's a vehicle, so if you're ditching pilots into your discard pile for stay on target, stocking up that discard pile could be good.
Yeah.
And there might be something else that it's useful for later on. Maybe.
Anton, I know you had being the deck builder, the meta breaking. I know you had some interesting thoughts on this one, so I'll let you go on those.
For Lady Luck, yeah, it's pretty much what the guys have said. I mean, you just want to look for your cards. I mean, if we go back to the sleuth days, one of the biggest problems I had when playing sleuths is you want to find those sleuths, but then I was always pulling up the enhancements I didn't want, like your smuggling compartments and stuff like that. So if you can strike and then look at your deck, all right, I'm going to stick the enhancements to the bottom. I want to keep the vehicles in my hand and get rid of any of the trash I don't want. So cycling your deck's always a good thing, and this can help you. Yes, will you be able to pull it off so many times is the problem though.
So I think I'll weigh in here. I love this reaction. The unit as a whole, I'm absolutely in love with. Because 2 blast damage, 3 with an unopposed. It's not going to die too much in one single strike unless it's got a lightsaber on it, probably. But for me, that reaction is money.
Yeah.
That's basically a mini Ran's guidance every time it strikes. That doesn't have it's only 3 cards instead of 5, but it's not limited to a unique Jedi unit. It's just choose the best card out of those 3 and put it in your hand. And as you say, anything that you want in the discard pile, you can put in the discard pile. And anything you want on the bottom of your deck, as we'll come to later, where you might want cards, you can put them there. Yeah. That is nuts. That's a reaction that people pay like card. That's a card on its own. That's dark precog basically.
Yeah.
If I've only got one negative thing to say about it, I'm a little disappointed it doesn't work with Lando. There's no like cross interaction with him.
With it being his transport.
But I'm love seeing the Lady Luck in it. I remember seeing it in the computer games and reading about it in the books.
Yeah.
Having said that, you could use Lando to spend a resource, bump it back out, strike again, focus, trigger reaction the second time.
Well, it's no, because it's every time it strikes, so he doesn't remove a focus from it if it's already struck.
As in, like, oh, sorry, yep. Yeah.
So, but that's worth saying. It is not limit once per phase or per turn. If you can find a way to free this puppy up to strike again and again and again, you can keep cycling through your deck. As I say, that if you could build Dark Precog into a unit, I don't think anyone would complain. This is it.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, strike first, you've got another card for your next edge battle.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can do about it. It took me a long time to get over worrying about my deck, and I think the most important cards in your entire deck are the cards in your hand. So when the new Sith and Jedi, where you're putting 3 underneath the objective, and I was concerned, oh, what if I put Palpatine underneath? It doesn't matter, it's not one of the 6 cards in your hand. You're getting 3 extra cards for free.
Yep.
If it's Palpatine, it's rather than fortunate. But the pod comes with a way to get that back out the discard pile with regards to Sith. But I mean, I'll Lazy Luck strike first. Loads so many costs, and like I say, the combos well with other cards in its pods.
Yeah, there's so many things to Dave that you said stacking up your discard. There's so many cards and units you want in there. Whether it's a Wolfman, whether it's a Jedi main that you're going to bring back with Return of the Jedi, whether it's one cost chuds like 3PO that you're going to bring back with the Hyperspace Marauder from a Gamma run. Being able to manipulate what goes in your discard.
Unfinished business as well now, I guess, as well.
Unfinished business. Yeah. So there are a lot of tricks that this baby helps feed. Whether it's just getting the cards in your hand that you need, loading your discard up, putting cards on the bottom of your deck, which we'll come to.
Yeah, I get. Yeah. Sorry, I guess my only. I like that reaction. Maybe not quite as much as you, Andy, but yeah, as you said earlier, the smuggler toolbox guy. So being able to search for the right answer is always brilliant. But just the 4 cost, and it's not elite. If you hit this early game, it's probably your only play for the turn, and it's not going to help you hold the force, and it's not got any tactics or resistance to tactics on it. So you need something with it to support it to make it do its job, because a single Emperor's, what are they called, the cheap tactics Sith guys or anything can lock it down quite easily, unless you've got your own way to push it through.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's not elite, and it is going to be your only. It's no Falcon.
No,
let's say that. But as a main, I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, it's not Luke though either, is it?
True.
It's a light side card that costs 4.
We expect Luke standards.
Yeah, you can't expect that all the time. Synergy. Moving on.
Right. So, card 3 and card 4. So you get 2 of these. Is a unit. 2 cost. 1 force icon. It's a neutral. 1 health. Cloud City Technician. A black unit damage and a edge enabled blast damage. It's a character and an engineer, and it's got a reaction. After this unit enters your discard pile, draw 1 card. So what did Lady Luck do again?
Yeah.
And you get 2 of these, so there will be 4 in your deck if you're running 2 of this.
I love these guys. When I saw these and I put my mind to it, I thought, what would make me want to run 2 of this set? And I immediately thought of so what's the best use of putting cards in my discard pile? So I had a think, and Defense of Yavin 4 came to mind. If I can pay using Cloud City Technicians to go into my discard pile, then draw more cards to pay for more vehicles, I could get a nice rolling start on pushing out sleuths, blockade runners, the Lady Luck, and it can just really help you board presence. So that's why I like these guys. But the fact that putting it in your discard pile and any way it enters doesn't. I think it's stipulated, it doesn't matter as long as it goes in your discard pile. You're drawing a card, so you're just cycling your deck again.
So if it's killed from play, if you discard it from hand, or if it's just somehow taken from your deck straight to your discard pile, Lady Luck, then that reaction will trigger.
Yeah, that's my little trick. I thought.
Let's say somehow I've managed to draw lots of cards. I don't know, playing some Ewoks that draw a card every time you play one. And I start my turn and I've got 7 or more cards in hand and I have to discard down to my hand limit of 6. If I discard these guys, do I then get to draw back up to more than 6?
Timing question. I don't know is the simple answer to that one. That's a good question. That's a. You're definitely living up to your ask the awkward questions. I would say no.
No, like similar to what I was thinking. If you had 4 of them in your deck, there's a strong chance you'll have one in your opening hand. You essentially get to see about 8, 9 cards as you discard, draw. Don't like that. Discard, potentially draw. So I think you have to have 6 cards in your hand at the end of the draw phase.
Yeah.
Without looking specifics in the rule book.
I think if you discarded it to then draw up as your as your framework action, there you go, framework that's not mentioned in the rule book. I don't think you'd be able to get up to 7. I don't think. Could be wrong, but we'll ask on the forums.
It's also a reaction, so it's kind of as you're discarding down to 6, you're going up. If you know what I mean, within the same, it's part of that discard.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Tricky one.
So,
I mean, go on.
Sorry, the draw phase says at the start of the draw phase, the active player may choose one card in his hand to discard it. After he's discarded a card or chosen not to, the active player must return his hand to a number of cards equal to the current reserve value, drawing from his deck or choosing to discard from his hand as necessary. So that suggests to me, if it's your initial discard, so you go down from 6 to 5 and then draw to replace it, you can't draw again.
Yeah.
But if you've got, say, 7 or 8 cards in your hand, you do your initial, you wouldn't discard the one initially, you discard down to 6. You've met the thing, and then it would trigger afterwards and draw you back up.
The only thing here that's making me think maybe it works is the fact that you will be the active player and you'll get to resolve actions and reactions in the order you choose. That's the only thing I'm thinking. So you discard to 5 or from 8 to 7 and then go to your flat 6 and then after that choose to resolve this effect rather than before. Okay. I don't know though. I'm not sure. But as a unit, rather than coming away from the rules discussion,
sorry.
You got to ask these questions. It's one. It fits the standard template of, you'd expect a 2-cost chud to be 2 cost, 2 health, 2 icons, no text. I'm happy. It fits the template of 2 cost, 2 icons, 1 less health, but has a nice reaction. And for me, the card draw reaction. It's fundamentals of card gaming. It's keep your resources open, draw your cards. They're the 2 main resources you have in this game. So having this with things like Asteroid Sanctuary and Lady Lookout, it's just you are getting through. If he goes into strike in an engagement, dies, but you won the edge battle, you draw off Asteroid Sanctuary and you draw when he dies. You're then going into another edge battle that you're probably going to win because you've got 2 cards that you didn't have before. The deck cycling to find, and again, I don't think it's amazing in and of itself, but when you factor in it's going to be in a deck with 8, 9 other objective sets of cards that you do want to see, you're just cycling to find that answer. As you said, Johnny, the toolbox of smugglers, it helps you get that right wrench at the right time. For me, I love it.
It's not an Ewok though.
It's not an Ewok. It's not. He is definitely not furry. So probably won't. But I don't know. Might make it into your deck. Might
Maybe.
make it. But that's card 3 and 4. 5?
Card 5. This is a 1 cost. Central computer and enhancement. 1 resource, 1 smuggler resource. It's Cloud City and it is an item. Enhance your play area. It's limited. Interrupt. When you would draw a card, draw the bottom card of your deck instead. Awesome.
Dave?
So, Lady Luck puts cards on the bottom of your deck.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got a particular answer that you can stash there, it's good. I'm not sure there's that many cards that... Ran puts it on the bottom as well, doesn't it? But one for one affiliated is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
The reaction might need a bit more support to be useful, but when you pull it off, it's good to have on a 1-for-1 resource.
And it doesn't require focusing to do the interrupt. It's just a straight up interrupt. So you've always got that resource
Every time.
And there's no limit
every
either.
time. Yeah.
No.
So you can do that for your draw phase. You can draw for the rest of the game from the bottom of your deck if you want to. Just to annoy your opponent as you slowly peel them off.
I mean, is there anything that your opponent can do to put stuff on the bottom of your deck? So if he doesn't want to see that, like you
There is no escape.
I mean, I guess you could do it with things like the ISB if you're really good at reading people's reactions. Like you show them the top card of your deck and they're like, yes, it's shit. You're like, right, I'm drawing from the bottom now. Because that is my 4th Sith library in a row that I don't want to see. JP.
I really like this entire pod. I love this card.
Yeah.
I mean, you could you're striking with Lady Luck. You focus to strike. You put a card in your hand. You throw the technician in your discard pile. You then draw the card off the bottom of your deck. So you're gaining 2 cards, not 1 for the next edge battle. That's just the first, within the pod itself, a way of doing it.
Mm.
Or if you, let's say you're not running May the 4th with you and you have Dash, look at 3 cards, put holding all the cards in your hand, put something else on the bottom, draw 2 more with holding all the cards. You then know what's on the bottom. And then you've got that, whenever it happens, at any point, when you know the card you're going to draw, there is so much more knowledge than unless it's a Sith library.
Yeah.
I've got 8 Sith libraries in my deck. But especially if you put a card on if you put the worst card in your deck on the bottom of your deck and you deliberately draw it in front of your opponent, you're just going to have your opponent worried because you've deliberately drawn a card you've already seen instead of a random card from the top of your deck.
Yeah, you've made that choice to screw with him.
I'm going to draw this card I discarded.
Jedi mind tricks, right?
Yeah.
I will win the edge battle.
I was wondering if there might be, in the Deluxes, you sometimes get reflections on the 2 sides.
Oh, yeah.
If there was a Navy version of this as well, with Fall of the Jedi, that could be pretty amazing. So stack up the bottom of your deck.
Yeah. I think
so. I can't afford to play Palpatine yet. I'll just stash him here, and once I've got this resource card that allows me to pay for him, I'll pull him back out.
Yeah, for me, that's the fact that it's not focus this to do this reaction. It's an interrupt that you can just do every time that you want to draw. That's nice. For me, it's the 1-for-1 being an affiliated resource. There's not many of them about. Like outside of your holocron type free resources. The 1-for-1s for me pay for themselves instantly and are the better resources that I want to put in my decks.
There aren't any other 1-for-1 affiliated, apart from like the officers, which can die.
Yeah,
there aren't any enhancement ones.
Yeah, I mean you can. It's easier to kill a unit than it is to kill an enhancement, but you can still get rid of this. But this is just really stacking up to me to be a great splash into because it gives you the extra smuggler resources that you might not see in your opening objectives. So it gives you that ability to play more affiliated cards. But also, it's got all the bearings of being able to cycle through your deck to find the main powerhouses that this is supporting. So this is stacking up to be a great set for me.
Also, the keyword item.
Yeah, it's a bit big for an item. It's like,
it is. It's like
the executor is an item.
Yeah.
But sorry, Chippy.
Could be a thing. Could not be a thing.
What do you mean?
Hopefully.
Like target, like steal target item from target player.
Holocron's an item, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
And this is suspiciously holocron-looking shaped.
Yeah, but it's mass. Unless I'm just guessing, it could be perspective. The camera could be
force
right
perspective.
up next to it, and that Cloud City red jewel car could be in the background somewhere. But
well, it's in Cloud City, so it doesn't have to be reaching into the clouds. It's already in the clouds, isn't it? At ground level.
That is true. That's true. And these columns in the front, they're just salt shakers. They're this big.
Well, it does look like people in the window on the right hand side. Is that little people?
There he walks. Tiny people.
Still pretty big even compared to an Ewok.
True. But yeah, love it. 1 for 1. Amazing. With a reaction that doesn't cost you, that you can do more than once, and it's affiliated. Yeah. It's up there as one of the best resources.
I'll also point out it's not unique either.
Oh, Anton, how did I not see that?
Which usually when you've got your special resources, some of them are unique and I can play one, but this you put two.
That's definitely up there as a
my only other comment is I'm sure we've all had that game where we just can't draw the cards we want, and then you look at your deck after the game and they're all at the bottom.
Take that one. Yeah. It's with that actually notice that it's not unique. That is up there with the force resources for me.
It's exactly the same. It's just a 1/1 instead of a 2/2, but slightly not quite as good. But this one isn't in a pod that's limited 1 for smugglers.
Yep. Done.
You don't really need to win the force if you actually have a 2/2. So great. I hope there's more. I hope every faction gets one at some point.
Yeah. Maybe not with that interrupt, because as you say, with Sith.
No, not
and
the
full, that'd be
Dark Side.
Bonkers.
The Sith interrupt will be refresh Darth for free. After you strike, refresh.
Ouch.
If Darth's not in play, put Darth into play.
Yeah. Search your deck for Darth Vader. Put him into play.
Darth, you seek Darth.
Search your folder for Darth Vader.
He wasn't even in my deck. He's on the table now. Cool.
So do Americans spell central correctly, even though they spell center wrong? Is that what Scott's telling me?
Let's not go there. Let's not go
there. Surely that should be ERAL for American Central, right?
Central. And if it's not unique and you get 2 of these out, how can they both be central computer? Is it just like dual core processors? Anyway, we digress. There's a card 6, is there, JP?
There is. It's not that good. Card 6, it's a fake card.
Oh.
It's Target of Opportunity. Everybody loves Target.
Unless you're the dark side. It's how you win the game. Damage.
It is. Smugglers have quite a few Target of Opportunities now. And really good pods as well.
Yeah, they're not lacking in ways to just get that cheeky bit of 1 damage to win the game, are they?
You mentioned holding all the cards, and Dash has got Target. All this drawing of cards, and could you just build a deck where you just look for Target of Opportunities?
I don't care about winning. I'm just going to put all these targets, boom, dead.
Send it, get twisted.
Send in your Cloud City technician with load Target of Opportunities, and then he dies. Oh, thanks, I draw another Target of Opportunity.
Well, you use Lady Luck to stack the bottom of your deck with Target of Opportunity, so you're going for that 1 attack and draw them all and go, 5, sorry. Objective gone.
But yeah, that's a great... for me, that's a great splash. I don't think I would build a deck around it, potentially, but...
I would.
Well, you would. Of course you would, Anton. But, yeah, there's plenty in there to actually help another deck get to the answers it wants, and it doesn't hinder you. A 1 for 1, it's a win. So... Great little pod.
If you've got your 4 chosen pods and you think you're a resource short, this could be your 5th pod.
Yeah, definitely.
It's always handy having a good pod and it has a resource.
It's 5/2 as well, the objective, so that's a few more resources to factor in.
Cheap resource to go with Obi-Wan for the Wolfmen that this is enabling. That's a good pairing.
Yeah. Lots of answers there. So thanks for FFG for reaching out and trusting us with these spoilers. We've hopefully done them justice. Thanks JP for communicating them to the wider
Sif
audience.
next time, please.
Sif, we'll try. I don't have any say in what we get.
Endor cycle, so right, I'm going to be happy. There's going to be Ewoks.
I think everybody will be spoiling a lot of Ewoks, I would imagine.
Yeah. There'll probably be a lot of dead Ewoks though on the dark side, so you've got to be ready for that.
Well, is that the special Navy Ewok pod? Ewok
I heard that Logray fell to the dark side, right? Couldn't he be a Sith Ewok?
That would be a scary thing.
Force sensitive Sith Ewok. That's what I'm hoping for.
Okay, we'll get on it.
With the lightsaber attachment.
So, spoilers done. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll post these up on the forums and the Facebook group. Anton, I don't know if you want to mention where people can find the Facebook group. I'll put a link in the description. But
it's on Facebook, Andy.
The link. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's the Star Wars LCG UK.
See, Johnny kept a straight face through during that.
He did. He did. Poker face. It's raining where you are as well, actually, Johnny.
He wins all his edge battles.
But yeah, that's so. Hope you enjoyed the pilot, guys. It's going forward. Probably won't be all 5 of us, but at least you've met us all now, so that if there's only 3 or 4 of us on a cast going forward, you recognise us and you can start to, see that consistency from us. Is there anything else anyone wants to mention? We've got Nationals news hopefully coming soon. We're hoping for something on this cast to be able to spoil what the plan is for the UK Nationals event, because word on the grapevine is that we have one. There's just no details released as yet. So as we know more, we'll post up, probably a link in the description below, and also on the Facebook group that Anton founded and we are all moderators of. So come on over to the Facebook group, say hi. But from me and the rest of the guys on the council, may the force be with you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.